Welcome into Sports Betting with Donnie, presented by RightWager.com.
Yes, folks, another day, another dollar. Welcome into Sports Betting with Donnie, presented by RightWager.com. Today is Tuesday, July 28th, 2020. We got some big news up right now, folks. We got some big news. Right off the top, let's get to it here. Canceled the Philadelphia Phillies and the New York Yankees today due to an abundance of precaution because we didn't know if the Philadelphia Phillies were going to have any guys test positive for COVID-19. They have not done so yet. So they are going to do another round of testing before heading up to play the New York Yankees in New York City, as opposed to today playing in Philadelphia at Citizens Bank Ballpark, but also some other news breaking out now. We were going to originally talk about, Rob Manfred and his comments and try to get to some of the issues that were taking place. But now, if we take a look at playing, the Orioles and the Marlins here, obviously they're not going to play. News breaking today that even more players have tested positive for the coronavirus with the Miami Marlins and their organization. We spent a good amount of time yesterday, about 25 minutes, going over the protocols and the procedures of what we thought would take place, why this is happening, and how this can be prevented. And yesterday, you saw the clown car display of Major League Baseball and what's actually taking place and how astounding it is that they're allowing this to actually take place. Welcome in, everybody watching here. And if you haven't done so yet, also, Sports Betting with Donnie, 394 subscribers now. So we're gaining each and every day. If you haven't done so yet, hit that subscribe button there below and the notification bell every time I go live here on my own channel. You'll get it delivered directly to your inbox where you can come in and say hello and jump in. So I do welcome everybody out there on all 5 platforms, whether it be Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, or even on rightwager.com. Now, getting back to this, the Orioles and the Marlins issues, they're not going to play, and they can't play because if you have 15 players that have tested positive for the Marlins, that's obviously not going to be a quick fix. You're going to have to get some minor league baseball players together. You're going to have to assemble. You have to fly them in. You're going to have to test them. You're going to have to keep some of the players quarantined that you already have, which brings up an interesting ideology because we're talking about, going all the way through Major League Baseball, right? The only team that seems to have issues right now is the Marlins, and it's set off like fire. Now, again, we have to talk about facts and what's going to take place here. It stinks for Major League Baseball, it really does. Because obviously when you're trying to, get involved and see what's what and who's going to play where, look, it's going to affect the game. But look, these guys are young, they're healthy, in 14 days they'll be back to playing baseball again. That's the good end of the spectrum because we do know from this, young athletes, they're really not having any symptoms whatsoever. The Marlins are asymptomatic. So again, they will have a baseball team. It's just a matter of how long you can hang on with Major League Baseball itself in the sprint season. How many games can you actually postpone or maybe even cancel? Or do you just remove the Marlins altogether for a few weeks and then bring them back in? But does that mean everybody gets wins that played the Marlins? And then when they do play the Marlins, how's that going to be fair? Well, in this year for COVID-19 and coronavirus, there's not a lot that's going to be fair. You're just looking to get through seasons regardless of what's fair and what's not. So if the Philadelphia Phillies have dropped 2 out of 3 to the Marlins opening weekend and the Marlins disappear for 3 weeks and everybody who was supposed to play the Marlins, here's what takes place. Forfeits. Oh, no. Phillies, we already lost, but that's not fair because everybody gets forfeit wins. Well, it's really the only way that's going to take place, and that's going to happen here. It's the only thing that can actually happen here. Because when you take a look at the Marlins right now, we're at an unparalleled time. One team, it's going through like fire. You can't fly these guys in city to city and have them play because the other team is going to get upset by doing that as well. So wait a second, I'm playing the Marlins here. They just had like 15 dudes contact the virus, and I'm going to play them out here. They're going to use the same baseballs I am. I'm going to run by them. I'm going to slide into them at second base, get tagged by them. That can't happen. So now what you're talking about is maybe if you remove the Marlins for 2 weeks, give everybody wins, losses, whatever it would be, mostly forfeits, obviously, that when you bring them back in 2 weeks, you're going to bring up an expanded taxi roster versus players for the Marlins that can complete the season, but also while trying to preserve the sanctity of the season overall, and not just say, well, Marlins, we're going to sit you out for the rest of the season, which Major League Baseball can possibly do. Because what you were waiting for today, if we were looking, let's just say at, I don't know, the Philadelphia Phillies tested positive like 3 guys today. Now you would be in real trouble for Major League Baseball. And they would have to look at some options of shutting down the season 2 weeks or maybe even canceling the season. But the fact that the Philadelphia Phillies tested non-positive for COVID-19 was a good sign. That means they can head back up to New York. And I thought they could actually play today if they just disinfected the room for the New York Yankees. The Yankees brought their own clubhouse guys. But they're taking an abundance of caution, and you can't blame them because they're human beings at the end of the day, not just robots that you say, hey, let's get out here and play and certainly see what happens. So when you're taking a look at the mindset of Major League Baseball right now, they're on thin ice, but they're still able to walk across the ice at this point because it's one team that's having the outbreak, and you have to get on top of it. Now, if you guys have watched anything from what I do here on Twitter or any videos that I put out, I usually like to wait and get the feel of the audience and the feel of the crowd before I try to weigh in on some things. And yesterday, with all the COVID, issues that were breaking, I wanted to see what the results would be from the Phillies before I put out anything on like video. And if you check out my Pub Sports Radio videos each day, I try to provide a hot topic on something that's popping at the time and you can get after and, see what happens, so to speak, right? So I waited till this morning and it came out right away. The Marlins, tested positive for more. The Phillies did not. But the thing that I was waiting on saying is I wanted to see how long it take to actually get the testing back. Because when you're taking a look at the actual tests that are coming back, why are they taking so long? The entire point of testing in Major League Baseball was to get a rapid result, whether it be the same day or the following day. And the Marlins, it's going through them like wildfire, and you're waiting 36 hours to get tests back to see if the Marlins are actually testing positive, who is and who isn't. That's egregious. The whole point of why we thought professional sports is going to be able to go on is because professional sports, unlike the general public, has an opportunity to pay and get the test and test every day and get them back in an efficient time space. That was the whole point. Otherwise, why are we testing at all? You should only be testing the Major League Baseball managers and trainers who are over 50 years old. Because if the players are going to play and they're asymptomatic, what does it matter if they're healthy and playing? The entire Marlins had COVID and busted the Philadelphia Phillies up. So the issue is not them getting sick. It's who they're going to transmit it to that might be in the danger zone, like a manager who's managing who's 55 or 60 places or 60 in the workplace, right? It doesn't make any sense. Those people should be removed from Major League Baseball. Davey Martinez yesterday, the manager for the Nationals, saying, hey, you know what? We're going to take a long, hard look at what we're going to do this year. And we had a energetic meeting on some guys that might be thinking about opting out. And then he says he's really scared and his family's scared for him. What is he doing managing in Major League Baseball? You are exactly the person that should not be around players. Players are going to be asymptomatic. They can transfer it to you. You're 55 years old with a heart condition. Step away for this season until we get a vaccine. The same goes with every organization. You could even say that there should be player managers this year. Bryce Harper should be managing the Philadelphia Phillies over Joe Girardi. If you are above 50 years old, you should be removed from Major League Baseball and just have it as a young sport. 1 year. This isn't permanent. Oh, well, you can't do that. They're never gonna. No. This year alone. This year alone. The simple fact that you're not getting a rapid test back. Why was Juan Soto taking rapid tests on day one of the Major League Baseball season, but the entire Marlins team can't get a rapid test when it's running through them like fire? How is this possible? It doesn't even make sense. It makes zero sense whatsoever. You're a billion-dollar baseball entity. Why are you not paying extra to get rapid test results in 15 to 20 minutes? A player comes to Philadelphia on a plane. They stay together as a team. They go to their team hotel, get their assignments, and they wait in their room until a person from the team comes around to rapid test them. Bing, 15 minutes, text message to your phone. Player A, you are not positive for coronavirus. You may go to the ballpark. What are we doing? Instead, you're going to have a team that actually gets out here and says, we're having a little bit of problems here. So what we actually have to do is test, and we're going to quarantine you guys. But we're not going to get these tests back for 48 hours and play baseball and have these guys all together? Big Ragu checking in. It is a joke. It's an absolute joke, Ragu. 15 minutes. The whole reason we were told that this is going to work is behind science and data. where if you rectify the situation by knowing who is positive and removing them from the team before they were supposedly able to get around the team when they were positive. So now you have the Marlins and also this code out here in Major League Baseball, which is a problem. Well, we have to be nice to the players. We can't say or we can't give out if they tested COVID-19 because, that's their own personal choice. You've got to be kidding me. So when we see Jorge Alfaro come to Philadelphia and work out the day before the season, mysteriously out of the lineup opening day. Hey, what's wrong with Jorge? You know what? Could be an ankle, could be a sore shoulder, could just be the coach doesn't want him playing, or the manager doesn't want him playing today. Could be COVID, could be a family manager, could be a family issue. We're just going to respect the players' wishes here. In a pandemic? That's like saying if you go and you test positive for COVID-19 in the general public, and you're just going around in public, going to the store, walking your dog, driving car full of people around, going down to parties at the shore. It should be plastered everywhere. If I tested positive for COVID-19 and I'm on my way to the Jersey Shore, every billboard should have my picture on there. Avoid this guy. This guy's got COVID. Avoid him for 14 days, and we'll post when he's actually negative. But Major League Baseball, $1 billion organization. Now, again, we're talking about, is it anybody surprised that who's watching the show right now? Is it anybody surprised that it's the Marlins having the issues? And not because the Florida area is having a hot spot. Texas is on fire. California is on fire. They're not having any issues. The joke about sending a response to a tweet earlier today, talking about, they probably went on the cheap, went to Little Havana, went to the back of a bodega where a guy said he had to hook up on 100 kits. He can get them at half price, and they probably bought them. Like, is it any surprise the Marlins are doing this? Even the joke or the poll I put out on Twitter at RightSideVP. Like, Derek Jeter's going to go to Miami-Dade County, who the previous owner, Jeffrey Luria, fleeced for a brand new stadium that he barely had to pay a dime for. They're probably going to ask Dade County for a tax increase once the cruise ships come back to help them pay for 20 minor league players to complete the season. It's a poverty franchise that is disrespectful to baseball in every way possible, that tries their hardest not to put a winning product on the field, number one, but now number two, has zero protocols in place to put out a fire when COVID is going around. Zero surprise that it's the actual Marlins in the spot. And I could go on for another 20 or 30 minutes and talk exactly about what's taking place here. But let's get to some of the hot topics that are popping off right now out here.
These are your Sports Betting with Donnie hot topics of the day.
Now, just to show how quickly, and it's great that we live in a social media society and a social age where we can get information extremely quick. Sometimes I'll set the actual show's, topics the night before. And by the time I wake up, they're already obsolete. And sometimes I'll wait like I did this morning, woke up at 7:30, set the show's, topics up exactly when I wanted to get through and work out and talk about. Rob Manfred was doing an interview yesterday, I believe on the MLB network, talking about protocols. They're in unprecedented times. How can we avoid, certain issues going down? And I said, this is probably what we're going to talk about right here. This is absolutely what we're going to talk about. And then all of a sudden it was obsolete because you got the test back that said the Marlins were testing positive, and you had the Phillies, not testing positive. So immediately that wipes that out, saying, hey, we're going to talk about to see how we can get through this with Major League Baseball, but we get the information before we even go on. And that's real time. That's only like 2 hours from what we talk about. And yeah, Ragu, it's a perfect storm out here. It really is. So when we're taking a look at Major League Baseball and what we're actually talking about with Rob Manfred, he has the right idea. The protocols are in place to succeed, but it almost feels like that we're given a bill of goods overall. Because the testing that we're supposed to get here in Major League Baseball is not working out at all whatsoever. And it's not that was explained to us of why this is going to prevent an outbreak. Because even other Major League Baseball teams struggle a little bit to get some tests back. But I think the Chicago White Sox manager, he thought he had the sniffles and a cough. They tested him. He's fine. But every other Major League Baseball team is not having an outbreak except for the Miami Marlins at this point. And it's atrocious that it's taking place. Because the whole design of testing is supposed to separate everybody and get a rapid result back. And they're not doing that. So I'm not going to be surprised if another Major League Baseball team has an issue with this, because if you have the outbreak and somebody is positive or two guys are positive, if they're not removed from the team over 48 hours, you're going to have issues. And also yesterday, the snipe shots. If you weren't on Twitter and obviously living in Philadelphia, we got the blowback from behind the scenes here from anonymous sources saying that the Phillies were observing the Marlins in town, that you're supposed to have a staggered run to the ballpark. So let's just say you're at the hotel, there's 30 guys. They'll take 8 guys or 10 guys at a time to the ballpark. So you come in staggered, you're able to separate, you're able to get out to the field and do what you need to do. But the Marlins were coming as a team. And also there's a protocol in Major League Baseball that you can't work out as a team on the field. You can't have all 30 guys out there. You can't have guys shagging fly balls, taking ground balls. You also have 15 guys hanging around the batting cage. We've all been there, right? You've seen before the game starts in Major League Baseball, get to the ballpark early, watch a little batting practice. There's a lot of guys on the field. They're next to each other. They're talking. They're high-fiving with the other team, and also with their teammates. That is no longer the case here in Major League Baseball this year. But it was reported that the Phillies saw that, A, they were coming to the ballpark stacked up 30 at a time. They were working out 30 at a time on the baseball field. And also not social distancing in the clubhouse, because also when you see these Major League ballparks, you see tents in the stands. You see players sitting up, 10 to 15 rows. Some are charting the game. Some might even have the radar gun out, and also some just taking notes, or even some advanced scouts that are out there, and you're staying away from your teammates outdoors as much as possible. But then they're saying, the Marlins weren't doing that, stacked up in the dugout. And if you watch a lot of the managers in Major League Baseball, specifically, I've been watching for some odd reason, a lot of Oakland Athletics and Angels baseball without the Philadelphia Phillies playing the past couple of days. Joe Madden's got it on. All of his guys that are on the base pass, who are coaches, first base, third base, they also have it. So a lot of teams are doing the extra little things possible to try to prevent an outbreak on their team. And yes, Joe Madden is old, so you're trying to prevent him from actually getting sick, because he would be in that target zone where he would be more susceptible to getting something wrong with COVID-19 as opposed to a young, healthy person. Now, which brings me to my next thing. And this has a lot to do with Rob Manfred, because he sits on the head of Major League Baseball of what you can and can't do and some of the protocols that are certainly put in place. Now, when we're looking at Rob Manfred, and I've had this pet peeve for years now, and I get a lot of feedback because, again, some of the guys that do some work with Pub Sports Radio are located in Texas. And I know Texas is hot. I know Miami's hot. Don't you remember the fallacy in Miami? Pro Player Stadium, so hot in the summer. You can't get fans to come out here. If you build a nice dome and you put some air conditioning in it, boy, the fans are really going to turn out. Stole money because it was a straight up bum lie. If the baseball team is good, the fans will turn out. Doesn't matter if it's hot, cold, winter, wind blowing, rain. It doesn't matter. The fans will turn out. So now I turn my eyes here and I want to look overall at the state of Texas itself. Yeah, Burn. Hey, look, rioting, looting, protesting, not wearing your mask, spiking. Right? Hey, heat's going to keep it down. Heat's going to keep it down. Well, there's some, little sliver to it. That's part of it where heat might kill off some of the virus. Now I'm watching the games this weekend. I'm going, all right, we got the ballpark in Houston that has a retractable roof. I don't know if it was open last year more than one time for the entire season. So you fleece the county, the city for a retractable roof that you never, ever used last year, right? Flip it over to the Texas Rangers. Beautiful ballpark in Arlington. I mean, beautiful. One of my favorite places to bet team total overs and overs was in Texas. Warm weather, Joey Gallo and the boys bombing it out left and right, subpar pitching staffs. Boy, it's fun to watch. No lead is safe back at Globe Life. Now we go to the new Globe Life. I think it's called the Globe Life again. I'm not sure, but I believe it is. It's a retractable roof stadium. Again, that they built in Texas. Not a huge issue with rain in Texas. Yeah, it's hot. It's baseball. It's the summer. Look at the football players. Look at the Texas high school football players. They ain't playing in domes. They're outside. They're working out. It's the heat. And again, there are no fans. The old adage that Houston would use was, hey, we have to listen to our paying fans. They don't want to sit in 84-degree weather at night. It's just a little bit too warm. We have to turn the air conditioning on so they can be nice and comfy when they come in. It's summer. It's baseball. You're supposed to be in the heat. The game is supposed to be played in the heat and the elements. Otherwise, why don't we just build stadiums around the country that have domes and play all throughout the winter? It's a summer game. It's America's pastime. It's supposed to be played out there. So now we flip it over again to Globe Life. Hey, we heard our fans. It's really hot sometimes. We can't be in the ballpark when it's 90 degrees. It's very uncomfortable to play baseball games and watch baseball games. So they broke the back of the county, stole money, and built a retractable roof, which they probably played off as, when it's not really hot outside, we'll open the roof and we'll have some fun and it'll be a natural element. Opening weekend, not one time either stadium actually had the roof open. If you see any protocol related to the coronavirus, the very first thing, one of the first things that you will see is what? It's easier to transmit the disease indoors than it is outdoors. The simplest guideline that you can follow in Major League Baseball right now is playing outdoors. Play outdoors, limit the spread. It's all over the place. Don't be in a confined area. Now, look, when you're saying, well, Donnie, the dome is really big and this and that, it's not fresh air. The wind is not blowing through. I go to Citizens Bank Ballpark multiple times a summer. There is a great breeze in that ballpark. It's 85 to 90 degrees in the summer. Those all help at limiting the transmission of the coronavirus. And then I see these two teams play again. Home stretches at home. The dome is closed. No excuse whatsoever. It's not because Joe Thomas sits in row 3. He pays $225. He wants to be comfortable. And if the roof is open, he might not pay for tickets. Nobody listens. Nobody listens. So either as a country and as a professional sports league, if you're not listening to the simplest of demands, you're not going to make it through. So as we flip over from Major League Baseball to the NFL, which I'm going to get to in just a few moments, I hope they're watching. I honestly hope they're watching. It's scary, man. We'll be back in 30 seconds.
Hey guys, Donnie here with SportsBookReview.com, the single best place on the internet for video and also written sports content. You see me do a lot of videos on our YouTube channel at SBR Sports Picks, bringing you all the latest up-to-date information. And also, if you want to win at sports betting, it's always important to get the best lines possible. So check out SBRodds.com, SportsBookReview.com.
All right, let's flip it back to the NFL and talk a little bit of action because, again, breaking news. Look, I love to use this. I'm going to use these all year long. When I have a chance, which is in the morning, we don't have a very many chances to use this, but out of the Patriots camp, breaking news. A total of 5 players now have opted out of the 2020 NFL season with the New England Patriots, including 2 starters here and 2 high-level players. Dante Hightower, you basically have lost all your linebackers from the previous year for the Patriots. And he's a big-name guy, $8 million base salary. I'm good. Just had a kid 2 weeks ago, which is his right. And again, I'm not here to choose sides on that because each and every person, this is why we're in America, you have the choice over your career and your livelihood for the most part. You know, if you're working a job that doesn't pay that much and you really need the bills, you're probably going to end up going to work. To pay the bills, you're probably going to end up going to work. But I can't fault people, even at that lower level, if you're not going to go to work, because here's the tough part about it, right? Here's the really tough part about it. These guys do get paid a lot of money. They have a family. They banked millions. They're probably going to continue to bank millions even though they sit out this 1 year. That's a lot of money to pay us up for an NFL player. Because most NFL players, you all seen the statistics, 2 to 3 years max? And that's even on the lower end guys. Some of these hiring guys can play a long time, specifically quarterbacks, and make a lot of money in the NFL. I get it. But each and every guy is an individual situation. Again, we'll sit on something. You should be playing because I love football, right? So I want everyone to play. But if you have a condition or you're really worried about bringing the disease home and somebody getting it, or even if you're what they're calling a high-risk player, which I believe Marcus Cannon is. There's 2 levels in the NFL. One, if you opt out and you don't, I don't want to say have a reason to opt out because you're scared of getting the coronavirus or bringing it home. But if you're a healthy individual, I believe that stipend is $150,000 that you would get for the season if you opted out. So let's just say a NFL player's base salary is $2 million, right? He opts out. He's only going to get $150,000 for the season as opposed to the $2 million. Yeah, Cam Newton, yeah. He's there. But if you take a look at Marcus Cannon, who does actually have a history, I don't want to say it was diabetes. I saw it was something from 2011, maybe 2012 that was traced back to. He opts out. Instead of the 150, he gets the 350. But again, you're talking about, this isn't like tax-free money coming in. And to me and you, that's a ton of money to get $350,000 to not play in the sport you have. But if you were scheduled to make $5 million, $10 million, that's a massive pay cut that you'll take, and your contract will just flip over to next year. And again, if the NFL will have you, nothing's a given. Their contracts aren't guaranteed. It's not like the NBA. I'm going to sit out. I had 3 years left. We'll continue those 3 years next year and for down the line. That's not going to take place here in the NFL. So these guys are making a decision financially that's going to have an impact, but also health-wise, what's the smartest decision to sit this one out, keep me and my family healthy, and play next year? But now this gets into what we're talking about in the NFL and through sports combined. I procrastinate anyway in sports. If you're betting right now, if you are looking right now at college football odds, team totals, and if you're looking at NFL odds and team totals right now, you are wasting your time. Take the money that you're going to bet on that team total, roll it up, light it, and use that money to light the cigar that you're going to light, because that's about as useless of your money working for you as can be. Guys are opting out left and right. You're going to take a team total in the NFL. Guys are opting out left and right, and you're going to bet the first week of football when you don't have any idea who's going to play. There's not even a preseason. Like, I don't like betting week 1 in the NFL as it is. We have a preseason, and the information is flowing. Nobody's taking the field until opening night. Nobody knows who's going to play until opening night. And again, with these HIPAA laws, if one guy gets it, that means 4 guys get it. And I know we're trying to be smart this year, and even during the season. In a healthy season, sometimes I will bet a game on a Monday or Tuesday for Sunday of the next week, because I already have the read on the game. You pretty much know who's going to be in the game. You can get a look at what the weather conditions will be, and you know what to expect, right? But how about this year, right? Let's take a look. And again, these are a lot of the times worst case scenarios when we're talking about gambling situations, which is exactly why I like to do the show, because we talk hot topics, but we try to meld it into a form that can help you be a better, more informed gambler of what I actually look at. So if we're jumping lines on Monday, right? Oh, I really like this game. Who knows by Wednesday if 2 or 3 of your players are even going to play? And there's model guys out there, which are my favorite for the most part. Doesn't matter who plays. My model says Eagles by 6 over the Redskins. It doesn't matter. If Fletcher Cox doesn't play, Darius Slay, it doesn't matter if Darius Slay plays. How about if Lane Johnson doesn't play? It doesn't matter. But Carson Wentz, it doesn't matter. It's a COVID-19 craziness here. Jordan Kane brings it up right there. I'm not sure I can make an NFL bet this year that isn't in play. It's a great point, Jordan. It's a great point. People that have taken the successful gamblers move on from year to year to year and always learn and continue to better their craft. 10 years ago, we used ERA. We don't use ERA now. There's a lot of different metrics in football that you look at that you didn't look at before. Ken Palm for college basketball. We didn't look at those 15 years ago. Those were thought to be mad scientist numbers. Like, the hell's this guy talking about? But now you actually get into play and see what's happening and say, you know what? This statistic makes sense. Or I never looked at this before. This is going to help me be a better gambler overall. But now you're taking a look at stuff, because when you bet, or at least when I bet, and Major League Baseball is a great example, and even taking like first 5-inning wagers, you see the lineups on both sides. You know who's pitching out there. You have a good idea where you say, all right, the guy in the 7 hole, he's a liability. The 8 hole, he's not going to do much. Maybe I can get something out of the 9th hole guy here. He's got decent stats against a lefty pitcher. And obviously the starter's going to be lefty, and he's probably going to face him for at least 5 innings, maybe get 3 at-bats in. You can factor in on that, and you can make an educated decision bet of what I call betting in a vacuum. But I'm under the same adage in Major League Baseball that I am also with the NFL when wagering, even early in the season. This might continue throughout. Learned a couple hard lessons a few years ago, of betting games before the lineup came out. And when I'm betting those games, it was actually hurting me, because if I'm going to take a favorite, or if I'm going to take a team that's dependent on somebody, and the player I'm talking about here is Mike Trout. If you're betting the Angels, you need Mike Trout to be in that lineup. If you're taking a team total over, you need Mike Trout to be in the lineup. Even if all your numbers say, and there's many sites that I use that will give out the expected lineups, and they're fairly accurate. It allows you to get a jump on those days' games, and allows you to get your numbers together saying, all right, if, let's just, the New York Mets, if Cespedes is out, I can make this adjustment. If McNeil is out, I can make this adjustment. If Pete Alonso is out, who can come in for him, and I can make this adjustment. Which player do I absolutely have in that lineup? Which player do I maybe not need in that lineup overall? But in today's day and age also, why not wait till the lineup comes out? If you're taking a team total over 4.5, and it's dependent on a lineup that you think is pretty strong, doesn't it feel bad when Chris Bryant or Anthony Rizzo doesn't play for the Cubs and you bet them? Or even if Chris Bryant sits out, or just Anthony Rizzo sits out? Just become a more educated bettor. And a lot of people will tell you, and this does point well in a few different directions, is the whole goal is beating the line. If you beat the line, you're winning throughout the season. That's not entirely true. Why not beat the line but still make a good decision? But so what? Like, I got it at plus 140, and now it's at plus 135. I'd rather pay the 135 and know that my full lineup is in the game than take the 140 blind because I beat the number. It just makes sense when you roll it over and when you're talking facts and figures about how to make yourself a better gambler and a more profitable gambler. It's the simple things that add up to making you successful. It's not, just running a model and being blind. You have to take all the numbers and use your eyes and make a sound decision of what actually makes sense in the game, and not just saying, trust my numbers here. Hey, Donnie, Mike Trout's not playing tonight. Trust my numbers here. No, that's not what it's about. It's about making the right decision, getting a good price. Yes, well worth it. Feels great. Doesn't it feel great when you're in the NFL and you say on a Tuesday, like, you know what? I got the Eagles at minus 3.5. I think that line's going to go up. You fire on the Eagles on Monday, 3.5. By game time, it's 5.5. Boy, you pat yourself on the back like, man, you know what? I did a really good job out here. I did a really good job here going over this stuff. And then the Eagles lose outright. And you see the tweets out there. You try to, hey, but nothing I could do. I beat the line. It's not always about that. Be a better gambler. Make more sound decisions for yourself and get after it. We're going to talk a little bit. There's an interesting situation that's developing here with Atlanta, making some quick changes here. We're going to be back after 60 seconds. RightWager.com. Not a bad place to be, folks.
Hey guys, Donnie here with RightWager.com, your handicapping home on the internet. As you know, we specialize in NFL, Major League Baseball, and NCAA hoops. And as always, we are 100% verified on third-party CapperTech.com. If you are a gambler, this is your place to be. Affordable packages, 1 day, 7 days, 30 days, 6 months, and even up to a year. Also, when you stop by the site, you'll notice sports content right here with the live broadcast home of Sports Betting with Donnie. There is no better place to be in the handicapper community than RightWager.com. And as always, I like to say, what side are you on?
All right, folks, welcome back into the show. I am your host, Donnie Seymour, right here on Sports Betting with Donnie, presented by RightWager.com. And if you guys are watching right now and don't know, say, hey, I give out plays each and every day. And we have a great show on sportsbookreview.com. Both myself and Jason Radowitz get a ton of views, winning some money. Killed it again yesterday. We'll be doing our full Major League Baseball breakdown at 1:30 p.m. right on the channel at sportsbookreview.com. So check that out. Come in and say hello. It's been well received. We started the show last Thursday, had 2 great shows before the weekend, came back yesterday, had another banging show, and we'll do it again today. That show is Monday through Friday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern time, and it's a sprint type show. You don't have to. We're not wasting all day. We get in, we get out. We get you the information you need. We hit the top games of the day, ask the chat box some questions, and tell you what. We don't need an hour and a half to break down a game or 2.5 hours to be online. Give us about 40 minutes. We'll put some more money back in your pocket. Now, let's talk Mike Foltynewicz, one of those guys that has electric stuff. Just doesn't seem to work out right now in Atlanta. And how about pulling the plug? Well, that's a tough one, man. Said that multiple times. But when you take a look at what they're doing here, it's interesting in this day and age of coronavirus, where you have a guy that can pitch, but you DFA him. You're going to bring up a younger guy. Sometimes you would want to have all those pitchers that could be possible for your baseball team, or maybe just demote them to the bullpen and say, we'll use this a long guy, maybe get it together and come back. They're done with them. DFA, designated for assignment, and now he's out there on the open market. And there's a lot of teams looking for pitching, even if it's bad pitching. Look at the runs that were scored last night. It's hitting weather, man. You can't hide these pitchers like you can in early April when it's 52 degrees out with a slight rain. You can't hide them. When it's 90 degrees at first pitch at 7 o'clock, when the wind's blowing out at 10 miles an hour and it's muggy as all hell, and there's a DH across the league, can't hide these pitchers. He got bombed. The Braves went down, like after bombing the Mets on Sunday night, they went down on Monday to play the Rays in Tampa and got absolutely dusted. Absolutely dusted in that baseball game. So DFA for Mike Foltynewicz. We'll see where he ends up. I don't know where he's going to end up going. But you feel the Marlins probably need him, right? They need just somebody who's major league eligible that can get in there and pitch, right? Somebody. So maybe look to them, maybe, the Baltimore Orioles, but who knows? But there's a lot going on. I'm sure we'll find out a lot more about what's going to take place here with the Marlins. The good thing is it's not middle of the way through the season. You could sort of accompany it. You can get ready for it. The tough part about this overall, to be honest with you, is we don't know where it's going to go. So each and every day, social media will be able to keep up. I can't imagine trying to track these stories back in the mid-90s or before the internet or before Twitter or social media was popular. You just be tuned in, I guess, to the TV, listening to the national guys, hoping they knew what they were talking about, but usually they don't. All right. Before we talk a little bit about setting up the Major League Baseball card, and then we'll cap it a little bit later today on the show on sportsbookreview.com. Michigan State, 16 positive tests. Here's the problem that we're figuring out. And I'm a voracious reader and really love the subject of COVID-19 coronavirus, how it affects the communities, what the age bracket is, what the underlying conditions would be, what are some of the conditions that it causes. And I'm having an issue with the way, because college football, even as big as it is, it doesn't have pro football money. It doesn't have pro baseball money. It doesn't have NBA. It doesn't have hockey money. So the hard part about looking at this with Michigan State is the tests come out and they say, all right, we have 16. And again, this is just the football team. This is throughout their athletics department, whether, I don't know, cross country, soccer, football. I mean, they're all combined, whoever's playing in the fall. The issue is when we take these young, healthy players, even though they're testing positive, they're asymptomatic, and we're quarantining the entire football team because you're trying to get a hold on it. It just seems to me that eventually the entire football team is going to get it. They're young kids. They're playing football, which is a contact sport. They're on top of each other. They're around each other. You can only have so many virtual meetings where the kids are in their dorm room. If classes take place, they're moving around. They're getting stuff to eat. Young kids are around young kids. They have girlfriends. They have friends they like to hang out with. They want to play video games with. They spread it around relatively easily. Now, we're almost into August right now as we talk about the coronavirus spreading around, specifically with Michigan State and a lot of campus communities. Some are having really good success. Nobody's testing positive. Some are like Michigan State. Some are like Clemson. But they're quarantining the Michigan State athletic department. And when I say department, I don't mean the AD and the people up front. I mean the actual athletes themselves. But what are we actually doing here? So we're telling them to quarantine. And again, they're kids. You really think they're staying in their dorm room for 14 days and they can't leave? That's not taking place. That's certainly not taking place. So they're going to go around, but it's when they get back on the field together. They're not in a bubble. And from everything I'm reading here with these, even the bigger schools, like Michigan State's a big school, Big Ten, it's a lot of money in that athletic program. They're not being tested every day. So if they're going around and just being your average kids, 18 to 22, and if you look at any of the numbers out there, 99.99999% of the time, they're fine. And about that same number is asymptomatic, where they don't even show any issues, like no fevers, nothing, no cough, no symptoms, no runny nose, and they're healthy and they're able to play. You saw the Marlins. Half the Marlins team had COVID-19, busted the Phillies up, and nobody would have ever known at this point. So if Michigan State quarantines for 14 days and they come back August 10th. Now you're really under the gun to start the season. You only got a couple weeks to go. The kids, I assume, weren't working out when they were in quarantine. So you took a whole chance for them to practice and get ready or work out, and now you're getting back on the field. And what happens if you test again the week later and 3 of the football players are positive for Michigan State? You're going to have to put them away again for another 2 weeks? So, I mean, look, is fear that grips into us, I think it should be only the actual coaches and people in that range of where they can actually get a symptom and a side effect. Those should be the only people, to me, that are tested and removed. If the football players are all on campus, I mean, why not just let them go through and then eventually have 60 to 70 to 80 guys test positive eventually over the course of the last 4 to 5 months, and you have a healthy, successful football season. But if we're going to take this approach where a couple guys get it, we quarantine, they're all going to eventually get it. So if we have 2 guys test positive first week of the season, 2 the second, 3 the third, 4 the fourth, the 6th week of the season, 2 guys, are we just re-quarantining everybody? Because they're not testing every day and removing. So how do you know who actually passed it on the incubation period or whatever? Because they're not being tested daily overall. It doesn't make sense to me. And I'm going to continue to read up and make sure I get as knowledgeable as I possibly can without just saying, oh, people die from this. You have to look objectively of all situations, who's actually in danger, who's not in danger, what makes sense, as opposed to just peddling fear. That's just the way we have to do it. You know, we're looking at your local grocery store is open, Amazon's open. We talked about it yesterday, the same bullet points that we were hitting at first with Major League Baseball before we knew the outcome of the Philadelphia Phillies test and the Marlins test today. The world goes on. When I step outside of my door, I have no idea coronavirus is taking place anywhere. The roads are packed. The stores are packed. Yes, people wearing masks. You can tell a difference, or you should be wearing a mask if you're going into stores. And now in most states, you have to absolutely wear a mask. But food delivery is going on. Transactions are taking place. People refinancing, people buying houses. People are doing their jobs day to day, and you would never know. Outside of some of the hospitals where the ICU beds are filling up, that's it. And if you're older and you have symptoms and you have conditions, that's it. Otherwise, you would never know that coronavirus is taking place out here. Never know. I'm just going to take one final quick break and wrap up on some Major League Baseball, get you guys headed out on your way. Good folks, Pub Sports Radio, man. Good bunch of people. Hey guys, Donnie here. Let me tell you a little bit about pubsportsradio.com. It's not just all about sports. If you like the latest in movie culture, check out the Film Room live on their YouTube channel. And also, if you like to get down, listen to a little bit of music, and certainly talk about some of the latest hits out and also some classics, check out Turn Up the Treble. But guys, I gotta tell you, if it's drinks that you're looking for, if you're thirsty, check out Southtown 101 tequila, beer, vodka, and all your favorite spirits located right here at Southtown 101. But if you're hungry and you're in the mood for some burgers, wings, mozzarella sticks, and much, much more, Southtown 101 has you covered. Come check us out right here, Southtown 101, in the heart of San Antonio, located on 101 Parita Street. PubSportsRadio.com has it all for you. Food, drinks, music, movie culture, and sports. it all down, give out some minutes. Yesterday, I'm going to try to play it close to the vest early in the season. Yesterday, you had the Cubs team total over 4.5 minus 130. Well, that was fun. Second inning, that was over with, as they already scored 5 runs in that game. So there's a lot more to do, and I do want to thank you guys for tuning in if you haven't done so. Whatever channel or whatever area you're watching in, or platform, I should say. Facebook, hit the likes there. Become a friend, I guess, on Facebook. YouTube right here. We're going to continue to build this channel, 394 subscribers. Hit the subscribe button, ring the bell. And also, if you're watching through, a lot of people use Periscope. It's a fantastic one. I guess you can certainly follow on there as well. And also Twitch and rightwager.com. Been a fun show. I'm going to be here each and every day, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m., breaking down the hottest topics all throughout. So certainly if you're interested in something like that, which I know you guys are, which is why you're tuning in, support the channel, 11 a.m., usually till about 11:40, 11:45 in that range, which is right about now. But also keep in mind, we're going to do a show once again today on sportsbookreview.com. So you can come in and say hello. We can win some money on that. I'm Donnie Seymour. This was Sports Betting with Donnie, presented by rightwager.com.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Sports Betting with Donnie, presented by rightwager.com.